Lumen students, it is week 25 and this is your Monday video. We're going to focus on our language arts topic for the week, and we're going to be working on endings. Every paper, every story has to have an ending, and there are lots of different ways you can do endings. Endings are really, really important, and to illustrate this I want to read you a picture book. The title of this picture book is The Tooth Fairy Wars. Okay, let's take a look. The Tooth Fairy Wars. When Nathan lost his first tooth, his mother told him to put it under his pillow. The tooth fairy will come get it and she'll leave you $1. I don't want to, said Nathan. It's my tooth and I'm going to keep it forever. His mom said, I guess that's okay. Nathan put the tooth in a plastic bag and then into his sock drawer. The tooth fairy found it anyway. She was very good at her job. The tooth fairy took Nathan's tooth out of the baggie, opened her briefcase, and tucked it inside, and she left $1 behind for Nathan. In the morning, Nathan was not happy. It was my tooth, he said. I'm sorry, honey, said his mom. I guess you'll have to hide the next one better. The next one? Nathan asked, worried. Sure enough, a month later, another tooth fell out when Nathan bit into a peanut butter sandwich. He hid the tooth inside a fort, guarded by army men. The tooth fairy wasn't afraid. In no time flat, she had traded Nathan's tooth for $1. When Nathan found the tooth gone, he growled like a bulldog. He made a better plan when the third tooth fell out. That night, after a quick search of Nathan's bedroom, the tooth fairy took out her super tooth sensomatic and scanned the house. She found Nathan's hiding place in the garage behind some oil cans. She said to herself as she hurried away to her next stop. Nathan showed the $1 to his mother. Again, she sighed. Why don't you try asking her nicely? So when Nathan lost a fourth tooth, he wrote the Tooth Fairy a letter. Dear Tooth Fairy, I know most kids like to trade you their teeth for dollars, but not me. I want to save my tooth forever. Your friend, Nathan. While Nathan slept, the Tooth Fairy came. She read his letter carefully. Then she took the tooth anyway. She left behind $1, along with a form letter from her briefcase. Dear human child, according to Regulation 8439H, paragraph 7, should the dentulous relinquisher object to said transaction, he or she shall be referred to Office 11 of the Tertiary Fee Division of Rates and Exchanges, 15th League of Enchanted Commerce. There, he or she may fill out Form R8 titled Petition to Retain Baby Tooth, listing his or her reasons for requesting an exception to policy, after which an adjunction hearing shall be held within 25,990 years to decide the case. Sincerely, T. Fairy. 25,990 years? Nathan squawked. Nathan hid his next tooth inside a carton full of eggs. The Tooth Fairy found it. Nathan buried a tooth under the marigolds in the garden, and she got that one too. He left another tooth at his best friend Danny's house and put out a cat's tooth he found instead. The Tooth Fairy lost her temper that night. It took her a long time, but she tracked down Nathan's tooth. Nathan tried bribing her, and that didn't work. To the Tooth Fairy. Dear human child, it is strictly against regulations, 6120Q, paragraph 3, to attempt to bribe an officer of the 15th League of Enchanted Commerce. Please cease and desist at once. Gravely, T. Fairy. Nope, Nathan said. The next time Nathan lost a tooth, he borrowed his cousin's tarantula. He painted the tooth gray and hid it in the rocks at the bottom of the tarantula tank. Nathan smeared the top of the tank with honey. Then he sprinkled itching powder over the honey and put up some signs. "Take good care of my tooth, Fred," Nathan told the tarantula as he turned out the light. Well, there we go. There's the story, right? Well, almost, except for the ending. The ending, we've got to know the ending. Well, maybe I'll share the ending with you at the end of this video. We're going to talk about, my markers, sorry, some different ways that you can do endings. And I want to give you a choice of the kind of ending that you are going to write. Whoa, here I go. Okay, I think they should stay put. Hey, we can do an ending to a nonfiction essay. For example, you could write a new ending for your essay on whether video games are good or bad. Okay, and I'm going to give you some suggestions. So maybe you want to choose the topic that we did last time, which was, are video games good or bad? And you are going to write a couple of sentences as a conclusion. Here are some great wrap-ups. Okay. Let me give you these examples. As you can clearly see, ... Okay, how would you finish that? As you can clearly see, video games are very helpful for students. Okay. As you can clearly see, video games are terrible for kids. Hey, you can use this introduction or this beginning of the sentence as part of your ending. Okay, it wraps it up really, really nicely. Another way you could end is, I hope next time you will stop and remember. Remember what? Remember that too many hours of video game use is not good for kids. Okay? Or whatever you want the person to remember after reading your essay. Here's another great example. One thing I know for certain is ... I like that one because the word certain is a very strong word, isn't it? It really emphasizes your point. Okay? If you're making a persuasive essay and you're trying to convince someone of something, one thing I know for certain. That's a very strong statement, and it ends your paper very, very strong, doesn't it? It's like, wow, they are pretty confident. They know what they're talking about. That sounds really impressive. That's a kind of a very strong ending, and I am liking that. Okay, do we have some more? Let's see. I think you will agree with me that. Okay, you've made all your arguments. You've got all your, made all your points. And of course they agree. You were so persuasive. Of course they agree with you. I think you'll agree with me that kids should only have G-rated games or 10 plus. No teen or adult games, okay? Or whatever your point was, okay? I think you will agree with me that ... Here's another one. The main thing is, okay, so kind of wrapping it up, restating the main idea. Here's another easy and fun one to do. To wrap it all up, ... Okay. That's what a conclusion does. It wraps everything together, makes a final point, re-emphasizes the main idea. Okay. Some great endings to a persuasive essay that you've written. As you can clearly see, I hope next time you'll stop and remember one thing I know for certain. I think you will agree with me that the main thing is, or to wrap it all up and make your point. Okay? I want you, if you choose this this one in your in our Google Forms, this one's going to be 25.3. I want you to rewrite your conclusion to the essay that you wrote last time using one of these as kind of the beginning launching off point, and then make your point. See if it makes it stronger using one of these endings, okay? Or experiment with one of your own. Okay, you're going to write just the ending part of your essay, okay, using one of these topics. All right, here is another possibility. I need my eraser. Where did that go? Sorry. This time, you could choose to do an ending to a creative story. Okay, so your second choice is an ending for a fiction story. And there's a couple of different ways you can end a fiction story. Let me tell you just some of the fun examples of things you could do. You could end with a question. Okay. Let's think of the Tooth Fairy Wars and how would this book end with a question. Okay. Will Nathan ever win? ... Question mark. Would that be a very good ending? It would be an ending though, wouldn't it? It could be an ending, a question. Okay. Will Nathan ever win? Will the Tooth Fairy finally leave him with a tooth? Another way to end a book, and you might be familiar with this way, is with a cliffhanger. And books end with cliffhangers sometimes when they have a sequel, don't they? Yes, we're just like, what? I've got to know what's going to happen. How could they just leave right in the middle of that? That's just, oh, right? Cliffhanger. It's got a cliffhanger. So you're just hanging there in the middle of the action, okay? And you don't know what's going to happen next. How could we end Nathan and the Tooth Fairy Wars with a cliffhanger? Tooth Fairy went in to the tank with the tarantula. And Nathan heard her scream. ... To be continued, okay? Right? That's a cliffhanger. Not a great way to end, because it drives everybody crazy. But you will have to do a sequel to the book if you do that one. Okay. But it's a possibility. Some authors use it to try to hook their readers and get them coming back for more. Another way you can end a fiction story is through hopes and wishes. Okay. For example, we might want to end our story with Nathan hoped that he would never see the Tooth Fairy again. Okay. The Tooth Fairy wished she had never met Nathan and quit her job after him. Okay. You could end with a hope or a wish from one of the main characters in the story. You could repeat the introduction. Remember, our book begins with Nathan losing his first tooth. Okay. And his mother telling him to put it under his pillow. Could we repeat that part again? Okay. Maybe Nathan's going to give up. And maybe he's going to lose his 12th tooth. And his mother says, honey, why don't you just put it under your pillow? And he says, okay, Mom, I will. Right? That could be a way to end, is to kind of go back to the introduction, kind of tie everything up in a circle. Do you like that introduction? Do you like that ending? To repeat the introduction with Nathan just giving in. Okay. How about a moral? Could you end with a moral? Do some stories end with a moral? And the moral of the story is, students, take the dollar and be happy. Okay? You can buy your own false teeth someday. Take the moral. The moral of the story is, do not fight with the Tooth Fairy. Okay? Another moral of this, or another ending, or final ending type, is with advice. Advice. Okay. I would recommend not going to war with the Tooth Fairy. Okay, maybe you could end that way. Okay, I hope we have all learned our lesson here, and I would encourage you not to go to war with the Tooth Fairy. Okay? You could end with advice. Okay. Question, cliffhanger, hopes and wishes. Repeat the introduction, moral, or advice. Okay. Let's see how our story does end, and if it follows this pattern. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you some ideas for some creative endings that you could write. Okay. Do not enter. Beware. Danger. Angry spider. When the tooth fairy came, she read the signs. She took one look at Fred and turned pale. She sniffed the powdery goo. "Oh, my," she whispered. The tooth fairy did not take Nathan's tooth. She did not leave $1. She left a handwritten note instead. "Young man, that is not nice. I am taking a vacation as of tomorrow. The 15th League of Enchanted Commerce will no doubt be sending a substitute entity. It is my fervent hope that this individual will be treated with the proper respect when he or she visits your household. Grimly, Tea Fairy." Nathan showed the letter to Danny. "I won," he yelled. "What about the substitute?" Danny asked. "I'll have to get ready," said Nathan. The 15th League of Enchanted Commerce got ready too, and they sent a whole team of tooth experts to Nathan's house. Poor tooth experts. They tried their best, but it didn't go well. The next night, while everybody else in the house was fast asleep, an official delegation came to see Nathan. The visitors presented him with a special certificate of exemption and with the contents of storage unit 329Z18 from the dental department, 15th League of Enchanted Commerce, every single one of his lost teeth. "Thanks," said Nathan. "I'll keep them forever." And he did. The boy who won. And here is Tooth Fairy basking on the beach after her oh so difficult life. Tooth Fairy Wars. All right, so how did it end? Okay. Kind of a repeat of the introduction, because remember he said he wanted to keep his teeth forever, and he did. Also kind of his hopes and wishes, right? Okay, that his dream came true, being able to keep his teeth. It didn't end with the question, didn't end with a cliffhanger, no moral or advice for other kids, but followed more along the lines of, I kind of think repeat the introduction, kind of reminded us how he wanted to keep his teeth forever. All right, let me show you now some other pictures. These pictures are from a book by Chris Van Allsburg. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He wrote The Polar Express and illustrated it. He also wrote the book Jumanji. The picture book came first, and then they made the movie from the picture book. He also made a book called Zathura, and they turned that into a movie as well. I think he's about the only picture book author I know of, besides Dr. Seuss, who has had movies made of his picture books. His picture books are amazing. Well, what this book is a collection of story beginnings. Okay, each page is a different story beginning. He doesn't include the middle, and he definitely doesn't include the end. Okay, I'm not going to ask you to write the middle of these. I just want you to choose one and write the end. And this will be for 25.4, the creative ending. So you can either choose to do a nonfiction, a serious ending about a persuasive topic on video games, or you can choose, and that would be 25.3, or you can choose to do 25.4, which is another easy action item, which is a creative fiction story ending. Or of course you can choose 25.1 in the regular Dropbox, or 25.2, which gives you other ideas for different endings that you can create. Okay. All right, let me show you these. You will just need to choose one of these that you want to do the ending of. Just desert, right? You think it would be dessert, but it's not, just desert. She lowered the knife and it grew even brighter. Why is this pumpkin glowing? She wants to cut it up to make pumpkin pie or something. But it grows brighter. What kind of ending? So think up a story in your mind and then just type up the ending. A question, a cliffhanger, a hopes and wishes, repeat the introduction, a moral or advice. Here is the next one. Under the rug. 2 weeks passed and it happened again. Okay, creepy. What is under there? And how will your story end? Here's your third choice. Uninvited guests. His heart was pounding. He was sure he had seen the doorknob turn. How will you end this story if you choose this one? And number 4, The House on Maple Street. I think this is my last one. It was a perfect liftoff. Okay. It was a perfect liftoff. Well, the house is just, it's a rocket or something. Just like on a regular, normal street. Okay. So are you going to choose to write on the house, the door, the rug, or the pumpkin? Okay. Your choice. You don't need to write the whole story. Just give us the ending. How does it end up? What happens to the girl and the pumpkin? Where does the house go? Where do they end up? What happens to the man with the rug, the thing under the rug, or the thing in the door? You get to write the ending. Okay, question, cliffhanger, hopes and wishes, repeat the introduction, moral, or advice. Okay, have some fun writing some endings. Endings are just as great as beginnings, and nothing is better than a really satisfying good ending. Don't you love a good ending of a movie? Good ending of a book? It's just like, that made it all worthwhile. So writing a great ending is really important, students, and have fun doing that this week. We'll catch you next in your Tuesday video.